Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the 7-Star Dude Cast. I'm Retro Rob.
And I'm Pontus.
And you may notice that there's a little somebody missing in between the two of us. He goes by Josh, and he is not with us tonight because, believe it or not, he is the drummer of a fantastic rock band, and they had their first gig tonight. So I was just talking to him through text, and he said it went awesome. His exact words were "nailed it," and that they had an encore. So there you go.
I think we should change his name to Rockstar Josh.
Maybe. He was rocking hard, and apparently it went awesome. So that's awesome. So there you go. And but although I'm sure that you and I could handle it, flying just the two of us.
Of course, who needs Josh?
I'm sure we would be fine. But just for good measure, we do have a special guest joining us. You may not know him by his true name. We call him Jason because we're tight, we're buds, we're close. However, you may know him better from his channel, Metal Jesus Rocks. I'm talking about Metal Jesus himself. What's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, dude. It's awesome. Awesome to be here.
It's good to have you, my friend. And, dude, we were doing some sweet hanging out in Portland. How are you doing since then? Are you recovering?
I got to ask you that question. I mean, I don't know if people have seen the video, but how is your ass?
After the pinch?
Yeah, after the pinch, man.
You know what?
How nice. We have it coined for the first time in a long time.
Let me just say that my wife turned to me after she watched that, and she was like, "You are so lucky that Rob just didn't turn around and deck you or punch me in the penis or something like that." I was
No way, dude. No way.
You were a good sport, man.
Hey, yeah, I'm a lover, not a fighter. So,
but the look on your face, man, was like, "What the hell?"
Well, I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, there's nobody here that I'm close enough to that would be able to do that, and I would be like, oh, okay. But if it was gonna be anybody, dude, I'm glad it was you. At least we'd spent the day together. I felt more comfortable with that.
Yeah, totally. I know. Obviously, I was comfortable enough to actually go up and do it. Although looking back, I'm like, why did I do that? I mean,
it was one of those moments, man.
What is wrong with me? I know. We had a great time in Portland, man. And that was a cool expo.
Yeah, I have to say thanks to you because I'd never been there. I really don't know a lot about. I didn't realize that there is a massive, crazy retro scene in Portland. It's something I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing, but just checking out some of the retro shops with you and then getting to see Ground Control in person was just really cool. So yeah, man, just thanks for toting me around like that. It was cool, man.
Well, you were a trooper to get into my car with, not even really knowing who I was. That was...
Well, his butt got to pay for it later.
That's true. He paid the price.
Hey, I've seen your videos on YouTube, so I know exactly who you are. Speaking of the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, I got some footage I need to slap together and put some videos out. Anyway.
Yeah, totally, man. I've been dying to see what you got there.
Yeah, so hey, thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, no problem. I was really excited to come do this, man. I'm a huge fan of your channel, of course. And actually, I've been listening to this podcast since you told me about it. So awesome to be here.
Sweet. Well, I think we're gonna move right into our first segment then, and it's a little something that we like to call Paperboy. All right, so this is Paperboy. As usual, we like to go around the table and just discuss some cool news stories that we saw around the web lately. And starting us out is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Spelling Failure himself, Pontus. What do you got for us, man?
Well, there is this company called Zynga that does crappy Facebook games and make money of crappy Facebook games and are hated because they make crappy Facebook games. So they're going to launch their own version of Steam of so they can distribute games of their own.
Oh, gosh.
Called Zynga Direct. I don't really know. I see the reason why they're doing this because Facebook takes 30% of all the payments.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, they do. But in any case, so I can see why they're doing that. But at the same time, the only way why people play those games, are because they are on Facebook and so easy to access.
Yeah,
if you need to download something, people would stop playing them.
you're just killing time. I mean, the few times that I played stuff, they're the guys behind Farmville and Frontierville and all that junk, right?
All the vills.
Yeah, I mean, the only time that I played that was, I'm already messing around on Facebook or something, and somebody's like, hey, I found a sheep with a broken leg. Can you help me out? And I'm like, let me see what this game's all about. And it's the same thing every time. It's just ridiculous. But having their own, like, download distribution service seems, I don't know, like, for those, like, Flash browser-based games, like, that seems a little overkill to me.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna lose a bunch of customers in that, which I don't mind because Zynga are kind of douchebags, in all honesty. They're pretty much on the same level as the Angry Birds company when it comes to douchiness,
So this is going to be a service on the PC and Mac. So you would not play this in a browser or anything. This would be a standalone games, right?
I am not sure, because the thing is that you still need to, like, connect to Facebook.
Okay.
But I think probably just so they can spam your Facebook page with more invites.
Well, there you go. Hey, if you want to, if you feel like downloading a crappy client for some even crappier games, Zynga to the rescue. Beautiful.
What could go wrong? I know how the. I just got it. I just understand how this is going to work, because they will release crappy game on a crappy platform, meaning it will be a double negative.
So it'll cancel itself out and it'll end up being epic.
That's deep, man. That's deep.
Yeah, I know. So on a philosophical level.
Beauty. Yeah. All right, hey Jason, what do you got for us, man?
All right, well today I want to cover, speaking of Mac, today was a big day for Apple. They released the iOS 5 for pretty much everything. And in addition to that, of course, so I'm a Mac user and I'm running the latest operating system, Lion. They also launched a new update for your Mac to get all the iCloud stuff. And the reason why that's kind of interesting, so I downloaded all of this stuff today, and it was a lot of downloading on my network here. It was kind of crazy, but there's some pretty cool stuff for gamers in there I just kind of wanted to cover for people who might be interested in. The biggest one for me, I have an iPad 2, is now there's the ability to do AirPlay mirroring to your television. So all these games that you play on your iPad 2, and also if you have the iPhone 4S, which is not out yet, but if you have the iPhone 4, you can send it to your television. But anyways, all these games can be played on an HD TV, which is pretty awesome. So
that's, amazing.
Yeah, and because I don't know about you, but actually I do quite a bit of gaming on my iPad. It's kind of crazy. I didn't expect to when I bought it, but the games at this point are getting to where they're just different enough that I do play it quite a bit. So kind of excited about that. Also, they're adding achievement points officially. So it's very similar to Xbox Live, where you go into Game Center and you see all your friends there and you can compare achievement points and things like that. It's actually pretty cool. A lot of games are adding iCloud support. And what that means is, for those that don't know, Apple has this massive server in the East Coast of the United States where iCloud is a free cloud service for the Macintosh operating system and all of their iDevices that run it. So, and what it does is it in the background syncs up everything, your music, your photos, and games are going to sync up the save games and the stats and everything else in between. So it's basically just like a file system from their perspective. They just have to write, instead of the save games in a specific spot, they write it and it syncs up to iCloud, which is cool if you're like me, where your wife happens to have an iPhone that you sometimes snag and play a little bit of games. And so you pick right up where you left off. It's actually pretty interesting. So another thing that they added today as well for iOS 5 is there's access to Friends of Friends if you want to turn it on. It's a privacy feature. So now it's pretty easy to compare games and scores with people who know people. There's also a new game discovery option so that you can go in there and see what people are playing, and you can directly download what looks like a cool game from Game Center. So you don't have to try to find it in the App Store. You just one click, it's downloaded. There's also support for turn-based games, which it didn't have support before. And these are like strategy games, like old school turn-based strategy games, or like Scrabble, where you don't have to be online at the same time.
Yeah.
The operating system supports that now. And some other little stuff, like you can add photos of yourself in Game Center so that you can recognize who somebody is, which that's something that I wish that they would add to Xbox Live, because half the time when people log into Xbox Live, I cannot remember who that person is based on their username.
Yeah, no way.
Oh yeah, I feel the same thing about Steam. It's like, I look at my Steam friends list and I'm like, who are these people?
I know. I wish I could rename them, right? And actually make it their name that I know them by, as opposed to, Fahrenheit 4978 or whatever, they happen to call themselves. So anyways, that was launched today. It's actually a pretty major upgrade for, again, iPhones and iPads, and also for the Mac operating system. It's pretty interesting to take a photo with your iPhone and immediately see it on your Mac in iPhoto. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, iOS 5, I've been banging around a little bit in it today, and it is very, very cool. And along the lines of, you're saying that you do way more gaming than you thought you would on the devices. Like I'm totally with you on that. Like, just for some reason, not for some reason, it's obvious why. Things are just moving so fast nowadays, but back in the day, it was like, your little cell phone games and stuff, like, it was a time killer at best. There was nothing deep, there was nothing good about it. Like, basically, it was like you were just
You got
wasting
something
time.
to say about Snake?
Yeah, exactly. This is all about bad-mouthing Snake right now. But yeah, dude, especially with these Apple devices and some of the games and the way that the developers are able to do them and stuff, it's kind of come to the point where, some people snicker when, the iOS devices are called a platform for gaming, but it's true. It's insane now. Some of the stuff that these things can do and the quality of games that you can get on there.
Well, I think the first time that you launch a game like Infinity Blade, and while that's not necessarily the deepest game, you look at those graphics and you're like, man, that's better than the original Xbox just 4 years ago or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And the other thing too about iOS that it's doing some really interesting things. For instance, if you are into indie games, and if you are the type of person who's sitting around going, man, another Call of Duty this year or Battle, whatever. It's like all the games that make it into the, the $60 games that make it into GameStop, and you're tired of that. Well, guess what? Come to the smartphone, the iOS and Android format, because people are doing wild stuff there. It's small teams usually just playing around to see what they can come up with.
I said in an interview that we did with Screw Attack Magazine, when it comes to the indie developers, I personally, I honestly believe that they are not only revitalizing the gaming industry, but I think that one title at a time, indie companies are saving the gaming industry.
Yeah, I would agree.
In a sea of monotony and just sameness and just lack of creativity and sticking to a formula that they know is going to pay out but is going to have no staying power. Indie companies are breaking away from that and are just making just creative, brave steps, and definitely, some of the stuff that's happening on iOS is definitely a testament to that. So yeah, definitely check out some of that stuff. Good stuff, man. So for my Paperboy submission, it's something that resonated with me earlier this week. If you follow us on Twitter and or even if you check out our Facebook, I was ranting about this quite a bit. PayPal is they've screwed me once, and it was on some personal matters, but they hit a little close to home, a little too close to home this week with basically shutting down our PayPal account for reasons that honestly sound bogus, and they're not willing to go into too much detail on them. But I saw a news story about PayPal also locking down and shutting down the account of a company called Goldhawk Interactive, which is actually in the middle of developing a game called Xenonauts, which is basically an indie title that's a complete reimagining of the original XCOM UFO Defense. And I don't know about you guys, but like that is I didn't know about this project, so in a way I'm kind of glad that this news story came out, because now that I've seen it, I mean, this is the stuff that Pontus, that you and I have been talking about.
Yeah, I thought, I just took for granted that you knew about it already.
No, I didn't know anything about it, but these games coming back, I mean, this is the stuff we've been talking about, so that is very cool. Issue, though, PayPal shutting down their account, basically doing what they did to us, saying that they're going to sit on the funds for 180 days and not, basically not allow them to access the funds. And we had to fight on our side to be able to at least issue refunds to everybody who had paid for shirts. But I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't understand what is going on with these guys, because it happened to us, and in the big scheme of things, I mean, we're small fish. I'm not saying that we're even in a league with these guys, but now seeing that they're shutting down this project, and then reading that both Project Zomboid, which if you haven't checked that out, go check it out because it's an amazing game. But they shut down the accounts for Project Zomboid and had shut down accounts for Minecraft while it was in development, and I don't know. I don't want to throw the conspiracy flag. I don't want to hate too hard, but
you're just saying that if someone could go over there with a sawed-off shotgun,
exactly,
they would do great.
But it appears to me that there's some hate going on for, I don't know if it's the gaming community. I don't know if it's indie gaming in general. I don't know what it is. I don't know if this is an isolated incident, but in my opinion, PayPal and just the way they're conducting themselves, especially in the gaming market, it's fishy and it's weird and it's just wrong. It's just bad business. Bad customer service, bad business. And it looks like they're not only screwing the little guy, but they're screwing, these big guys who are honestly trying to do a service to the indie scene. And they're having to fight uphill the entire way, as if it's not hard enough trying to break into an indie scene.
Yeah. The other thing too, it's really interesting if you want to take the conspiracy theory further, shall we?
So I heard that PayPal planned 9/11.
No. Well, no, something that Microsoft does actually all the time with their Xbox Live. And that is that, let's say you had $50,000 in sales. Let's say you are a huge reseller and you had $50,000 in there. Well, how much interest would PayPal gain having that money in there
for 180 days?
For 180 days, because that's exactly what Microsoft does with their Microsoft points. That's the reason why everyone has a balance on Xbox Live. It's because you paid the money, you haven't spent it all. And can you imagine how many millions of dollars sits in Xbox Live every month? And that's interest.
Yeah.
So,
it just makes my stomach turn just thinking about it, man. Yeah. Oh, we got to move on.
Yeah, that sort of shotgun.
It doesn't take it takes a lot to get my blood boiling, and we're getting to that point. So hey, good job, everybody.
Sorry.
No, it's good. Hey, so that was Paperboy. Excellent job, everybody. PayPal, you suck. Let's move right into Flashback. All right, so this is Flashback, and this week our suggestion comes from a true fan and a follower of Retro Hunters by the name of Tyler Schwartz. And if I remember right, I think he was the 666th fan on our Facebook page, if I'm thinking of the same guy.
Devil.
Exactly. Pretty sure that was him, but if I'm wrong, sorry. But if I'm right, boom, I remembered. All right, and his suggestion was Ghostbusters is being re-released to theaters, the original Ghostbusters for Halloween. And he's wondering, is there some movies from our childhood, maybe the 80s, 90s, 70s, something like that we would like to see re-released to a newer generation? Something that we'd like some of the new generation to get to experience. So what do you guys think?
Heck yeah.
So for me, I have a few in particular that I would love to see re-released. Like, I was really surprised to hear that Ghostbusters is coming back. That is definitely a good one. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a little movie called The Warriors.
Oh yeah, there's a game based on it.
Oh man. Okay, what I can tell you is the game, the movie, amazing. absolutely amazing. That one I would like to see re-released, not remade, but re-released, because I think a remake would be a bad choice.
And that was a pretty gritty movie. I forget who made that, right?
I don't remember exactly who the director or writer or anything like that was, but it definitely had some rough moments in it. Like, I remember my dad showed me that movie when, and we still to this day talk about it and make little jokes. And I talk about how if I ever have a son, I want to name him Ajax. If you've seen The Warriors, you know who Ajax is.
If I know Greek mythology, I know who Ajax is.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one, but a re-release of that one would be awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, I kind of feel that I don't have a specific movie, but what I do want is to bring the action comedy back, like the Lethal Weapon movies.
Like the buddy cops?
But not necessarily the buddy cops, but I felt that when I saw, I don't know, have you guys seen the new A-Teams movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
The A-Team movie? Yeah. I actually liked that because, sure, it was not a smart movie anywhere, but it was a movie where the heroes did ridiculous things, actiony things, and actually had fun. And
they have fun while they're saving the world.
Since The Dark Knight, every movie has pretty much been, we're gonna be serious. We're gonna talk in a funky voice.
There's gotta be so much grit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. Sometimes I just want to watch a fun movie, not someone who thinks that they're cool because they are in the dark.
That must be why you're such a Big Trouble in Little China fan.
Yeah, that movie's awesome. And that's another one of those movies. That's like action movies that are really fun. Most 80s action movies were that. They were kind of quirky, kind of stupid, but really fun to watch. Did
you ever see Bloodsport?
Yeah.
Even Bloodsport had some really quirky comedic moments in it.
Yeah.
I remember this one part where there's a couple of cops or something that are chasing Van Damme, and he's running all over town, but he'll be posing next to a lamppost or something, and then he's running through some boats out in the marina, and the guys were like, whoa, whoa, and I'm just dude, this is a fighting movie, and and it's got all these Three Stooges moments in it almost.
Okay, so if you guys are mentioning silly 80s movies, I've got one.
Not necessarily silly.
Well, okay, so here's a movie that I would like to see at least get a new audience, and it's not a great movie. It might be in the vein of Big Trouble in Little China, but it's 1981. It stars Burt Reynolds, Roger Moore, Farrah Fawcett, Dom DeLuise. Do you know what it is? Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and Jackie Chan.
I do know which one it is because you mentioned it earlier today, but I actually I was way too young. I never saw that movie.
Glorious. I don't know what it is, but
it is glorious. It's called. It's the Cannonball Run. It's the Cannonball Run. It's a completely cheesy movie. I mean, it's basically an excuse to get a bunch of out of work actors on the screen, drunk. Half of these people were literally, you could tell that they were drunk. They were slurring their words. But it's such a fun movie, and I don't know. It's got hot chicks. It's got exotic sports cars. I loved it as a kid, and the reason why I think it would work. The movie's not great, but I'd love to see it remade today because it's a kind of movie where you get a bunch of actors in there, and you just put them in a road movie and let them go wild. So that's one I'd love to see.
What
I mean, Roger Moore. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roger Moore is awesome.
I feel like there's okay. I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a rant here. All these movies a re-release, I think, is the way to go. One of the things that I've been fearing a lot lately, especially with the release of the new Footloose movie, is that they're going to take a lot of these classic films, and instead of letting them just be, and instead of just letting them sit the way that they are and show them to a new generation and let them find a new audience, they're going to take the formula, they're going to try to update it, they're going to try to, I mean, honestly, like if you've seen the previews for Footloose, like they're going to try to like oversex it a little bit.
And they
like,
made it country. It's a country movie.
It's like, it honestly, like when I'm sitting in the theater and I see the preview start, I'm like, okay, this must be like a Step Up movie or like Step Up to the Street or whatever that, you know, that series is. And then I hear the, you know, oh, the preacher's daughter and, oh, he's gonna, you know, outlaw dancing. And I'm like, okay, this must be like there's no way they're remaking freaking Footloose. They have to be just like, oh, they're going to kind of borrow a little bit and it's going to be like kind of maybe an homage to Footloose. And then you see him wearing the tux and all that stuff. And I'm just sitting here and they're basically, they're taking these classic movies and honestly like injecting so much like sex into them and stuff like that. And they're it's honestly like they're raping the memory of these movies. And I don't know, man, it's that is one thing that I'm really, really scared about.
How could you?
Now, one remake that I actually like, and maybe you guys will agree or not,
Okay.
but did you see the remake a couple years ago of Starsky and Hutch?
Yeah.
I
didn't
liked
like
it.
I didn't like the original. I didn't like that one.
Well, okay, well then you just killed it off.
Well, here's the thing. I had no experience with Starsky and Hutch. Once again, I was too young, but
You just called me old, man.
I'm sorry, man. But I'm a huge fan of Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. And so like seeing them just kind of mess around and stuff was like funny. But I have to say, like, if I was a big Starsky and Hutch fan, I don't know that I would have appreciated it as much or, you know, even been able to stomach it. You know?
Well, I think what it did really well. So I did watch Starsky and Hutch as a really young kid. And it wasn't the greatest show anyways. I think what that remake did is it acknowledged that there was this other show out there, and it just kind of made fun of it. It was a little bit over the top. There was Snoop Dogg in it, and it had the payoff at the end where the actual actors showed up at the end and kind of gave them a little for making fun of their show.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a show that knew exactly what it was doing. So that's why I liked it. Now, you mentioned, though, Ben Stiller. I mean, did you like Zoolander?
Oh, that's one of my favorite comedies ever.
Love that show, too. And I think that they're very similar in style.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. You probably would have to be familiar with Starsky and Hutch in order to sort of get why it's so wacky and silly.
Well, I can tell you one of my biggest fears in seeing that they're remaking Footloose. One of my biggest fears is that they're going to take a lot of the John Hughes teen movies and try to update them and remake them for the time. And like for some people, they may have no love for those movies, or they may think like, what's the big deal? But I didn't even grow up with those movies. Like I wasn't old enough to enjoy them as they came out. But as I got older, I experienced them, a few years later. And to this day, like those are still some classic movies, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like,
Yep.
As a kid, that was one of my favorite movies. Or The Breakfast Club.
Yep, totally.
I would not be surprised if you hit IMDb right now and searched it that it's in development. I would not be surprised. And the thing is you can't remake it. No matter how hard you try, you're going to rape it and do it wrong, and it's going to be terrible. And it's a lot of what's going on with I think with the gaming industry too. It's nobody's coming up with an original idea. Everybody's kind of taking something, trying to retool it, and when they find a way that it works, they're just going to run it into the ground.
The thing is, I think also the thing is that I think that you can do old school games, and you can do a good reboot of an old movie. The problem is that what most people don't understand is, when it comes to gaming, many people understand the good thing about it, but when it comes to movies, it seems like many people don't understand the arty thing, so to speak. I mean, the amazing thing about having limited technology.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to game, people have started to understand that. I mean, you can see it in many indie games. You can see that they understand pretty much the thing. But when it comes to movies, I mean, especially like when you see some of the older like horror movies and stuff like that, where they because they didn't have the special effects to go on, they actually started to try and use fear to scare people rather
Exactly.
Actually, I think it's funny. I think that the standard horror movie today is more like the B horror movies from the old days than the good horror movies from the old days.
Well, nowadays, horror movies, it's all about how it's pushing the envelope, how much gore can they show, how realistic can they make it look. Like with the Human Centipede, their whole thing was like, it's completely 100% medically accurate. It's like, back in the day,
movie's just stupid.
Yeah, back in the day, they didn't have to worry about that. They could use suspense, and they could use the things that they don't show you to scare you. And it's something that's, I think that's, we're getting like way off topic, but it's true. Like that's something, I think it's a lost art,
I don't think we're getting that way off topic, really. We're still talking about remaking movies.
Yeah, I guess.
Have you guys seen the trailer for the new reboot of The Thing?
Oh, that's another one. Why?
Yeah.
Why remake that?
Well, you
Bring
mentioned
the shotgun!
Well, you mentioned the whole thing about, computer graphics versus, actually in camera using real props and real effects. And The Thing is, to this day, still gross and scary as all hell because everything looks fairly real. I mean, most of those scenes in that movie are absolutely terrifying, and there's no CG to be found anywhere. There's real actors in a room seeing this stuff, and I think nowadays we probably know how they did all the effects, but still, it's like, I guess I'm afraid when I go to see this reboot that it's going to be a bunch of CGI, and it just doesn't have the same effect. Your mind sees that CGI and immediately tunes it out and says, "Oh, that's a computer."
Well, and here's the thing: is it's interesting that you bring up the idea of, it's real actors in the room seeing it. That's part of that sort of filmmaking. Also, is where you get some of the most authentic, like freaked out, real reactions from your actors. Like the chest burster scene in Alien, like that scene is, infamous for the fact that when Ridley Scott shot it, none of those actors knew what was going to happen in that scene. He purposely did not tell them what was going to happen, so the reaction that you're seeing when the chest pops, when the thing pops out, like, especially the first pop and the blood coming out and stuff, like, the actors did not know what was going to happen. And when you watch it, when that pop hits, everybody stops. Everybody freezes. Their eyes get big. They're like, what the crap just happened? Because they don't know. You're seeing an authentic reaction. And with CG, it's like, okay, I'm going to hold up a little ball, and that's the monster. So act scared. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, okay, we'll add him in post. It's like it's completely different,
Yeah, totally.
And also, I think like that's one of the things that I really dislike with like the new Star Wars re-releases. I mean, the old movies had these really kind of half crappy looking dolls, but they have this charm to them when they have these like dolls or costumes and stuff like that.
Yeah, Frank Oz puppeteering Yoda is a bajillion times better than CG Yoda. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah.
CG Yoda seems too light, doesn't he, when he's bouncing around? He just seems like he's made of paper mache,
Yeah. I think the consensus, the answer, or to Tyler's suggestion, we say bring them all back. Don't remake any of them. Just bring them back.
Yep.
Show them to the audience and let them reach a new audience. Some people are going to like them. Some people aren't. But it's going to be real. It's going to be true. It's going to be, true to the original vision. And you don't have to stare at some punk kid who thinks he's Kevin Bacon. You're not Kevin Bacon. All right.
Good question, though.
Yeah, that was a very good one. Thank you, Tyler. You're awesome. And hey, why don't we move straight into Totally Rad? All right, so this is Totally Rad. Basically, we like to go around the table and just share a piece of content that we found somewhere on the web that we think you guys should check out. And I think Jason, Metal Jesus himself, is going to start us off. What do you got for us, man?
All right, man. So since we've been talking about Apple and iPads and all that good stuff, I like to dig around in the App Store and find games that I think are pretty awesome, and I like to share because I think everyone should be playing cool games.
Yeah.
And the first game I want to share with you guys is a game called Jetpack Joyride. Now, I don't know if you guys have smartphones or iPads, but essentially a lot of times people will come up to you and be like, hey man, you got to check out this game. It's really cool. It only costs $1. Well, the deal is that a lot of times those games are fun for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then you kind of go, well, I only paid $1, you know?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Jetpack Joyride is, I think it's $1. It might be $2, but this game is a casual game that is absolutely awesome. To give you an idea, I've played this game for, I think, 8 or 10 hours so far.
Holy cow.
Yeah, for a casual game, this is awesome. And it's got a really simple premise, but it does everything right. You basically are this guy who steals this jetpack from this crazy mad scientist or whatever, and you're trying to get out of his lair, and he's got all these traps set up, and it's a one-button game. You basically push down on the screen, and that fires your jetpack, and you use this, and it has gravity and all this stuff to sort of get through the levels. The genius of this game is that it has a ton of different missions or achievements that you're trying to do that are completely wacky. So there's the main game, but you're also trying to get these really weird things, like you're trying to scrape your head against the wall, or maybe the ceiling for 500 yards or something like that, and you'll get an achievement for that. Or not pick up any coins at all, or you'll try to all these sort of crazy things. It's just an awesome game. Everyone who has iOS should probably play this game. It's killer.
I'm just looking it up right now. It looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun.
Although the splash screen with the main character, he looks like George Michael.
Well, what could go wrong then?
Oh my God, that's so funny. Another game I want to talk about is a really interesting. Now, everyone's heard of tower defense games, right? They're dime a dozen. Everyone has a tower. Well, there's a game out there called Anomaly, and it's on the iPhone, and there's also an HD version. This is a fantastic game because it's a tower defense game in reverse. In other words, you are trying to get to the end, and there's already tower defenses set up, and you have to do certain missions within that and survive. If you have any interest at all in tower defense games, you must check out Anomaly. It's fantastic.
It's on Steam, and I think it's on the App Store as well, on the Mac App Store.
Yeah, and it's really
Gamers and stuff like that. So.
It's really high quality too. I don't know. I can't remember what the development team is for this, but I mean, they must make AAA games because beautiful 3D graphics too and everything. It's awesome.
You know what? Let me. By the way, I just looked it up. There is another game called Anomaly, but I think the one you're talking about is it Anomaly Warzone.
It's by the company Chilingo.
Yeah, that's Anomaly Warzone Earth.
Okay, yeah.
There's another one that was just released called Anomaly, and it looks really stupid. So
okay,
make sure you don't get that one.
And then finally, I wanted to mention, just because I think they're fantastic and it's movie based. Have you guys played the new Back to the Future episodes that are out?
I have not.
They're on Mac. They're also on the iPad, and so there's 5 of them, and they actually blew them all out at $3 a piece recently, and so I picked up all 5. And if you are a fan of Back to the Future, these are absolutely awesome old school adventure games because, first of all, they got the blessing from Bob Gale. I think that's who created those original. He wrote or produced the original Back to the Future movies, and so these are perfectly fit within the storyline. And they also got who plays Doc in the movies?
Christopher
Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd, and then they got an actor.
How can you forget him?
I know, I'm spacing. Then they also got an actor to play as Marty, who nails it. I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you listen to him and you're just like, holy.
Yeah, actually, James Rolfe actually did an interview with him earlier.
Yeah, it was really interesting. And so he's a total fan of Michael J. Fox, and he just nails the voice. But these are really interesting, well-made, old-school adventure games, and they work really well on the iPad is where I'm playing them. So, it's nice because it's not trying to do the virtual stick. You actually click around with your finger and they're
the
they're super fun.
the old point and click games should be like the perfect game for the touch devices.
Yeah,
really.
because essentially you're emulating a mouse, right? A cursor. And so, yeah, because I've also played Broken Sword on the iPad, which is an old school adventure game, and it's excellent too. So I just kind of want to throw those games out there. If people are looking for something to play, definitely check out Jetpack Joyride, though. Man, I played that to death. It's so much fun.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I'm like looking them up as you're mentioning them, and they all look really cool. So I will definitely be picking some of those up. So Pontus, what do you got for us, man?
Well, I've got a little story about an ex-podcaster here, an ex-dudecast guest, perhaps you could call it instead. Mr. Mike Dodd, the Birdman.
The Birdman.
The Birdman. He's going to do the 15th of October. He's going to have a charity drive. So yeah, he's going to play some games, raise some money, be awesome. He's starting in 2 days, and his goal was his official goal is $1,000. He's reached 1,100, but he'd like to double or even triple it if he could.
That's pretty amazing.
So
that, you know, he sets this up and he's like, hey, it's going to happen on this date, and like before he even gets to the date, he's already met the goal. That's really awesome. So
yeah.
Very cool that the community's coming out and supporting that, you know, that early. That's really good.
Yeah, but yeah, you should totally check him out. Check that out when it's time for it. Support him the best you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be tweeting that and linking that. And if he's cool with it, I mean, we may even, you know, post it and host it over at the website and stuff like that, you know, just to get the word around. So definitely check that out.
Cool.
So for my totally rad submission, once again, it's a YouTube channel that I'm subscribed to, and I don't remember how I found this guy, but it's so random and ridiculous. But
I think it was through the internet.
Yeah, exactly. the majesty of the random internet. But it's a YouTube channel. The channel name is his name. It's Andy Rehfeldt, I think is how you would pronounce it, but it's ANDYREHFELDT, all one word, Andy Rehfeldt, and we'll put a link in the description. But basically what he does is he'll take a performance of a song. He'll take like my favorite one is he takes a live performance of Metallica playing Enter Sandman, and he removes all the instruments, and so you have the original vocal recording, but then he will re-record the instruments in like the most random, like antithesis style of whatever the artist originally does. So like I said, he does,
it's hilarious.
Yeah, he does Enter Sandman by Metallica, but he does it as a smooth jazz version. So you have these smooth jazz instruments playing, but you have Hetfield's original vocal recording, and it fits perfectly. Like, it's pretty amazing. And usually he does it with a video of a live performance, so it is synced up perfectly. Like it's like you're watching Metallica at an arena show decide to do a smooth jazz version of Enter Sandman. It's beautiful. And like some of the other ones just randomly that he did a smooth jazz version of Crazy Train by Ozzy. He did a country version of Like a G6 by Far East Movement. And then today he released a death metal version of Twist and Shout by the Beatles, which is amazing.
Yeah, he's also done, like, I know he's done Polka Face too, which pretty much take Poker Face and make a polka song out of it.
Yes.
I also think it's him who has done the Disney version of a Immortal song. He actually didn't keep the song there, he just synced it up.
Yeah.
So you have like these guys standing looking ridiculous and singing like the happy-go-lucky version.
Well, yeah, some of the ones he's done in regards to that is like he takes, like, for instance, you know, Lamb of God, and he does what he calls the Radio Disney version. Yeah. And for those ones, obviously he has to he'll re-record the vocals, but yeah, he takes this like hardcore,
and he does it, but he syncs it up so good that it's like it still looks perfect.
It's like this amazing death metal song, and he does it as like this bubblegum pop, Saturday morning cartoon version of it, and it's just amazing. So you need to check out his channel. Like I said, it's Andy Rayfelt. We'll put the link in the description, and there's just going to be a lot of laughs. It's awesome. And one of the things in one of his videos that he talks about is the fact that he can't officially make any money off of these because he obviously doesn't own the copyright to the songs, but he mentioned some ways that you can support him and invest in what he does if you so choose to. He's a really talented guy, so take the time, check out his channel, and do that. That's really cool. All right, so that brings us towards the end of the podcast, but as usual, we like to take a question and from the community and just kind of answer it. And for this week, instead of taking a certain question from a certain user, there's a question that's been popping up a lot via Twitter and Facebook recently regarding the Retro Hunters and Screw Attack and just what's going on there and what our relationship is like, and the fact that it would appear that we're not partnered with them anymore. And I just thought it would be cool to field that real quick and kind of just officially give a statement and then, kind of lay it to rest to see what the future will hold. But basically, if you go to the new site, you'll notice that unless you click on partners, you're not really going to see us there. And even if you click on partners, there's no videos there yet. And basically, let me give you guys a timeline, and it might make it a little bit easier to understand. The initial talks for Retro Hunters to become partners with Screw Attack was back in July or June of this year, and basically with our interaction with Craig, he let us in on the fact that Screw Attack would be launching a new site and that things would change, big time in August. And so he was down with bringing us on as kind of a tentative partner, just kind of see how things go. Nothing really official, but we'll promote the show, we'll back the show, and just help you guys out basically, and we'll see how things go, see how the show does. So August comes, and the show has done decent. It's no Talking Classics or Video Game Nerd, but we were pleased with how it did, and I think they were too for the most part. And but basically, when August comes, the new site launches, and with that kind of ends our tentative agreement. And Craig had communicated to us that when the new site launches, partners are going to look a little bit different. The site is just going to be different. It's going to be a whole new ball game, and they're just going to kind of reevaluate the way they do things. And so basically, when August hit, our tentative agreement kind of expired, and we were still in communication with those guys. Everything is still really cool. But basically, with the new quality of the site, they're looking to ensure that the content that they put up there is of the highest quality. And to be honest, we put our heart and our soul into the show, but there's a lot of things that we can improve upon. And so they basically ask us to submit a pilot of kind of a new show. Basically kind of, with the new launch of the new site, what are we going to kind of bring to the table? And what that was episode 13-2, and very different than a lot of our other episodes, as some people pointed out. And showed that to those guys. They enjoyed it. A lot of feedback back and forth. And so as of now, I guess the official statement would be that we are no longer partnered with them, but we do have. We're kind of talking with them on ways to just develop the show, and the way that I'm kind of coming away from it is just that it's not so much about that we're striving to be a Screw Attack partner, and nor are they really striving to ensure that we're a partner, but that through these last few months, there's definitely been more than a business connection that's been made. And so they're just really good guys, and Craig, Chad, Ben, just really taking their time out of their busy schedule to watch the show and give a lot of constructive criticism, and just helping to develop the show and just really make it better. And so as far as will we be a partner in the future, don't know. Right now we're kind of aiming a lot of stuff at YouTube and that community, just because our audience has broadened since we started with Screw Attack. Are we open to it? Absolutely. We love Screw Attack. We would love to work with them. We would love to, be official with them and all that stuff. But as of now, I guess we're just friends who they happen to be being gracious and helping us out a lot, which is really cool. So that is kind of like the official thing of what's going on. Are we partners? No. Is there a chance in the future? Absolutely. And in the meantime, they're just being really cool guys and helping us out a lot, which is really cool. So that's the deal.
So as a fan, Rob, I guess I would say that I don't necessarily see you going and focusing on YouTube as a bad thing. And the reason why I say that is because the YouTube community is super strong and people are passionate on there. And the other thing too, for me, I like having my favorite shows show up in my subscription box.
Yeah.
And the way I work is that when I get up in the morning and I'm making my coffee, my iPad is sitting there next to my coffee machine, and I'm watching my YouTube subscriptions, and it's just like television for me. And so it's very convenient for me to have all of those just sitting there, and I just click one right after the other and go through them, and that's my day. And so I can see why there's a real temptation to go and have exclusive content over on another site or being teamed up with them. But from a viewer's point of view, I really like having things on YouTube. So I don't really look at it as a negative at all. Hopefully that you guys will just continue to grow on YouTube and, potentially get partnership and, take over the world.
Well, and I just want to
2028 Retro Rob runs for president.
There you go.
Of the United World.
And apparently I'm going to be running against Dylan Toomey because he's campaigning apparently or whatever. But anyway.
but he won't be. I don't think he will have his 8 years before you even get there. So
yeah. I just want to make it, really clear that, we have nothing but love for Screw Attack, for the G1 community. We are G1s. We always will be. That's where we got our start. And, this is in no way trying to snub or move away from Screw Attack at all. Like I said, if a chance to work with them works out in the future, that is amazing, and we would love to. But I think more than anything, right now we just have a good. I think we just have a good relationship as far as business, but even a little bit beyond business. There's definitely some just personal time that's going into connecting with us and just trying to help us develop the show and really taking an interest in it. And we just really appreciate that. Like I've told Chad and Craig so many times, like it blows my mind that they would take personal time to just even watch the show and take the time to sit down and talk about it and critique it and all that stuff. So it means a lot to us. But people have noticed, on our website we had G1 of the month and it's changed to Retroid of the month. Or in the videos I would say, "What's up, G1s?" and now I don't say that as much. And the reason for that is not, has nothing to do with like not working with Screw Attack or anything like that. But part of that comes down to, as our audience broadens, every we like to call our fans the Retroids. Every Retroid is not necessarily a G1, and every G1 is not necessarily a Retroid. Just being able to kind of say Retroid is an easier way to say basically we don't end up with, "What's a G1? Why does he keep saying G1? Rob sounds like such a douchebag when he says G1." We got that comment before too. So just to officially go on the record, everything with Screw Attack is great. It's better than ever. Just developing things and seeing how they go, and not really having any expectations. Just trying to do a show that we enjoy, that we love, and get it out to the audience. And however that works out, wherever it ends up, is fine, as long as the show is getting out there, I think is the big deal. So
I think your hardcore fans will follow you wherever you go. So I know I will, man. I'm here for you, dude. I got your back.
Awesome. So that's the skinny, and I've ranted on so many things, far too long tonight on the Dudecast. So we got to wrap things up. But hey, I first want to say, Jason, it was so awesome to have you join us, man.
It's been awesome being here, dude. Like I said, I had a great time hanging out with you in Portland, so I was looking forward to this. It was cool.
Tell me, anything that you got coming up that you want to plug that people should just be aware of besides your channel? I mean, if you don't know Metal Jesus Rocks, go look it up on YouTube immediately and check out some of his stuff, because he's just a good guy and adding a lot to the gaming community. But please, yeah, anything that you want to plug or throw out there, man, let's hear it.
Well, one of the really interesting things that happened both at PAX and also at Portland was a lot of people realized that I used to work at Sierra Online. And so
yes,
a lot of people came up to me and were like, man, there's very little content on YouTube about Sierra. And, as a matter of fact, not to name drop or anything, but I ran into Pat, the NES punk. And sure enough, what does he want to talk about? He wants to talk about Sierra with me. So in the car and in the drive back home, I was like talking to my wife. I'm like, you know what? I really need to focus more of my channel on that, and not to leave the other stuff behind, but there is definitely a void out there on the internet of really talking from the inside about Sierra. And so I've actually got some really interesting things in the pipeline with some of the older developers that a lot of people know their names of. I'm going to try getting them on my on my channel and doing interviews and things like that. So that's definitely coming to my channel, and you'll start seeing that fairly soon. Also, I wanted to mention, though, I am really excited. I don't know if you know who John Hancock is. Does that name sound familiar?
Isn't he one of our founding fathers?
Yes. He signed some document that... No, but he's a really interesting collector in Portland. I have a decent size collection of games. John Hancock has over 5,000 games, and almost all of them are complete in the box.
Wow.
Yes, and he has 16 complete collections. So he has all the Sega Genesis complete in the box, and he's just got 16 of those. He's got 200 gaming consoles. Now, the reason why I bring this guy up is because I've been back and forth with him on Facebook, and he was down in Portland. He's part of the people who put on the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and he invited me to his house. So I'm going to go there in November, and we're going to go through on my channel his collection. And I just cannot wait. He's going to let me stay in his guest house. We're going to go through his massive collection, and it's cool because it's going to be a chance to see stuff that a lot of people don't see in their lifetime. He's got stuff in there that a lot of people just don't see. So I'm very honored and thrilled that he's going to allow me to dig through that and create some episodes. So that's going to be coming in November on my channel.
Sounds very cool, man. So definitely, like I said, check out Metal Jesus Rocks on YouTube, and you will not be disappointed. Dude, I can't wait for all the Sierra stuff. Like, you have such a niche in there that a lot of people don't have, and so that's going to be very interesting. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to dig into that stuff. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. All right. And hey, Pontus, what do you got coming up, man? Just busy as always?
I'm as busy as always.
Well, we're patiently waiting for your next song. So.
Yeah, I know. You make a song.
I know. Seriously, I'm gonna have to pull out the crappiest chiptune ever made.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make the crappiest Retro Hunters episode ever. Mostly because there are no place over here where you can buy retro games.
Awesome.
It's like, here's this old ball I found that you can play with. And that's pretty much it. That's the most I can come to anything.
Yeah, you're right. This is going to be the worst episode ever. Yeah. All right, and coming in the world of Retro Hunters, we're shooting actually a new episode this Saturday, so that'll go up on October 20th, and going to be some pretty cool stuff going on with that, and you can be looking forward to very soon another episode of Rob and Josh Conquer the Classics, Toe Jam and Earl, and so yeah, good stuff coming up. Just stay tuned to Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. And once again, I just want to say thank you guys so much for listening and joining us. And on behalf of Josh, who was rocking it hard tonight and had a good gig, I am Retro Rob.
I'm Pontus.
And I am Metal Jesus Rocks.
That's right. And you've been listening to the 7-Star Dudecast. We'll catch you next time. Ow!
What?